We spend our entire lives trying to control something that was never ours to control in the first place. We fight, we plan, we resist, we worry. And yet, the more we tighten our grip, the more life seems to slip through our fingers. Have you ever noticed this? The harder you try to make something exactly how you want, the more chaotic it becomes. You try to control people. They pull away. You try to control your mind. It grows louder. You try to control your future, and life laughs gently in your face. And somewhere deep down, you felt it, haven't you? That quiet exhaustion of constantly trying to hold everything together. The tension in the chest. The fear that if you stop pushing for even a second, it will all collapse. That is the human condition. The endless attempt to dominate what was meant to be danced with. Alan Watts once said, "To let go of the illusion of control is not to lose power, but to discover real power." Because the truth is, surrender is not defeat, it's alignment. It's the moment you stop fighting the current and allow yourself to flow with it. But surrender terrifies the modern mind. We think if we let go, we'll drown. We think surrender means weakness, passivity, failure. But have you noticed? Rivers never fight the rocks, yet they carve valleys through mountains. Clouds never hold their shape, yet they paint the sky anew each day. There's a hidden intelligence in the flow of things, something infinitely wiser than our limited plans. The tragedy is, most people never discover this intelligence because they're too busy trying to outthink life. They think spirituality means more effort, more discipline, more meditation, more control. But the essence of awakening is not control. It is the end of control. It's the realization that life was never a problem to be solved. It was always a mystery to be experienced. And when you begin to surrender, truly surrender, something incredible happens. You start to notice that life doesn't fall apart when you stop forcing it. In fact, it begins to unfold with an almost mystical precision, as if everything was waiting for you to get out of the way. You stop being the anxious doer, and you become the silent witness. You begin to see that what you called your life was never entirely yours. You were never driving the car, you were always the road. In the next part, we'll explore what truly happens after that first letting go. The strange calm that arises when you stop being at war with yourself, and how life begins to live through you rather than by you. When you truly surrender, something almost paradoxical happens. Life begins to work better than when you were trying to control it. The mind, so used to managing every detail, suddenly finds itself without a role to play. And for the first time, perhaps in years, there's silence. Not the silence of emptiness, but of peace. The peace that comes when the inner war ends. You start to see that life was never against you. It was only your resistance that made it seem so. Every struggle, every disappointment, every moment of frustration, they weren't punishments, they were invitations. Invitations to let go of your imagined control, to trust the intelligence that breathes through you without asking for permission. Most people don't notice how deeply they live in resistance. They wake up already fighting. Fighting time, fighting work, fighting their own thoughts. They call it being productive. But it's really just fear in disguise. Fear that if they don't control every outcome, they will fall apart. But here's the quiet truth. Surrender doesn't make you fall apart. It shows you that you were never separate in the first place. When you stop forcing life, you begin to feel it again. You start noticing the rhythm, the natural rise and fall of moments. Some days are fast, some are still. Some people stay, some leave. And suddenly, that doesn't threaten you anymore. Because when you surrender, you no longer demand that life obey your idea of how it should be. You begin to move with what is. Alan Watts called this the wisdom of insecurity. The deep recognition that security was never found in control, but in flow. That safety isn't about having guarantees, it's about learning to trust movement itself. To live like the waves, rising, falling, and never questioning the ocean. And once this realization dawns, life starts speaking to you in ways it never did before. Synchronicities appear. The right people arrive at the right time. Opportunities flow not because you chase them, but because you're finally aligned with the direction life was already moving. It's as if the universe breathes easier through you. You become lighter, not because problems vanish, but because you stop carrying them as if they were yours alone. That's the quiet miracle of surrender. It doesn't change the world around you. It changes the way you see it. And that shift changes everything. You realize you were never separate from the flow. You were the flow all along. Like the ocean realizing it was never just a wave, it was water, moving as form for a while, returning to itself. In the final part, we'll explore the ultimate beauty of surrender, how letting go doesn't mean losing life, but finally joining it. How surrender transforms from something you do into something you are. There comes a moment, after the long exhaustion of trying to control, after the gentle realization that life moves with or without your permission, when surrender is no longer something you do. It simply becomes who you are. You stop chasing peace because you've discovered that peace was what remained when the chase ended. You stop trying to make life meaningful because you begin to see life was already meaningful in its every breath, its every imperfection. And slowly, you begin to laugh. Not the laughter of amusement, but of recognition. The kind of quiet laughter that says, "Ah, I see now." Because once you've truly surrendered, you see that life was never personal. Everything that came and went, everything that bloomed and broke, was part of one continuous unfolding, like waves forming and dissolving back into the sea. You realize that nothing was ever really lost. It only changed form. You were never in control, but you were always taken care of. And this realization brings a freedom that no achievement can offer. A freedom not from life, but within it. You can finally sit with uncertainty without needing to solve it. You can let others be exactly as they are without needing to fix or persuade them. You can face pain without turning it into a story of failure. You begin to live lightly, not careless, but spacious. Every moment starts to feel like a gift, not because it gives you what you want, but because it allows you to exist at all. Alan Watts once said, "To surrender is to see that you are the river itself." And that's what happens when you truly let go. You stop standing on the bank trying to control the flow, and you realize you are the flow. The current carries you effortlessly where you were meant to go all along. You still act, you still plan, you still live. But something profound has changed. The tension is gone. You no longer live from fear, but from trust. You no longer struggle to find meaning, because meaning is woven into everything. Even your mistakes begin to look like perfect steps in an unseen dance. And perhaps the most beautiful part is this: once you surrender, you become deeply alive. Because life can finally move through you instead of against you. You become transparent, like a clear window through which existence sees itself. In surrender, there's no more you struggling to live life. There's just life, happening, breathing, flowing as it always has. You realize the river never needed to reach the ocean. It was the ocean, moving in the shape of a river for a little while. So what happens when you truly surrender? You don't fall apart. You fall into something vast, something timeless, the effortless intelligence that's been carrying you since the very beginning. And in that falling, you finally rise.